Hello and welcome to another edition of the Empathic Designer podcast. I am your host Vaidishwaran. In today's episode, we will take a look at the 6-step process for generating personas for your next L&D project. Let us first start with understanding what personas are. To quote Alan Cooper, personas are not real people, but they are based on the behaviors and motivations of real people we have observed and represent them throughout the design process. They are the composite archetypes based on behavioral data gathered from many actual users that you have encountered as part of your interview process. Now, constructing these personas will help you ask the right questions and answer those questions in line with the users for whom you're designing for. Now, I will be touching upon this particular aspect towards the end of the video. So let's get started with the 6 steps. Now, the first step to generating personas is data collection. Data collection can be either primary or secondary in nature, but applying the appropriate research methodologies and the process of analysis of data is very, very critical. Now, this will help you empathize with your target audience and identify their attributes. Step 2 involves the formulation of a hypothesis. In this step, you will utilize the data gathered from step 1 to formulate a general idea about the various users from your target audience. One way to do this is by the process of constructing an empathy map. If your sample size is very large, you can construct a scatter plot based on the various recorded attributes upon your empathy map. You can test this hypothesis with subsequent interviews to ensure that you are on the right track with the process of generating your personas. Now, step 3 is about deciding the number of personas that you should create for your project. You can decide this by chunking the information from your empathy scatter plot and grouping the common attributes. When it comes to deciding on the number of personas, it is important to remember that less is more. Having a lesser number of personas really makes it easier for you to test your solutions. Once you have your personas, you will also have to answer the question, which personas do I really need? Chances are that some groups will turn out not really worth designing for because they are either too small or they are too specific. It is important to remember the goals of your project and only retain those personas that are relevant to this. Moving to step 4, we will begin building the actual personas. Ensure that you describe your personas in such a way that you are able to develop a sense of empathy towards them, their goals, aspirations, and motivations. You can achieve this by including details about their educational values, attributes, attitudes, goals, desires, limitations, lifestyle preferences, and so on. You can create a personal touch by giving them a name and adding a few personal details about them to make them more realistic. Once your personas are ready, it's time to test them. You can do this by placing them in different scenarios where you would expect them to perform actions that would enable them to achieve the goals that have been set for them for this particular program. You can create these scenarios based on your interactions with your stakeholders and subject matter experts, and also from your personal experience, and evaluate how these personas would react to those. This brings us to step 6, where we will get to refine the personas by tweaking their attributes based on your test results. Now, if you're working with a team, you can ask your teammates to test these personas and share their observations, and this can serve as very valuable inputs towards refining your personas even further. The final piece of this refinement activity can be provided by your stakeholders and subject matter experts who are really critical to this process. They are instrumental in helping you validate your results, and the refinements to your testing phase. Now, I did promise that I'll be talking about asking the right questions at the beginning of this particular video. A common mistake that I find L&D professionals make is to start with the end in mind. They start by asking what their learners must do, and this approach results in stereotyping your audience and opens up the floodgates to all your inherent cognitive biases, and all of that comes into play. Now, when you're validating your personas and your instructional approach, your first question at each stage should always be, why should my persona do this? Followed by how they should do this, and only then address the question what they should do. Taking this approach will ensure that your personas are well crafted and give you the right answers you need to create the best learning experience for your learners. Thanks a lot for tuning into this edition of the Empathic Designer podcast. If you like what you heard, please go ahead and hit the like button so that you can help your fellow YouTubers find this video much easily. You can also hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to be the first to be notified when I upload new content to this channel. If you have any questions for me, please do leave me a message in the comment section below, or write to me at empathicdesignstudios@gmail.com, and I'd love to have a conversation with you. Thank you and have a wonderful day.